I want to say happy Thursday, happy Thursday. Madam Speaker, Madam Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow resilient Washingtonians. My name is Tia Bell, and I wish to start the biggest moment in my life with a moment of gratitude, thanking each and every one of you for your hearts and your ears. As I feel the most powerful today in this fight to end gun violence. As a native Washingtonian, I've never felt this powerful. In this walk, in this journey, I felt powerless. I've had doors closed, but today is my moment. It's our moment. I was born right here in Northwest DC in 1989 in our nation's capital, the Howard University Howard Hospital to be exact. Then the state of gun violence in our nation's capital was peaking, averaging over 400 homicides a year for more than 12 years straight, and normally being referred to as the murder capital of the world. As much as I heard the sounds of go-go, I heard the sounds of gunshots. Yes, we were the chocolate city, which was rich in culture, distinct in dialect, and known to thrive, but our communities were infested with guns, with drugs, with despair, and with a lack of opportunity. As a result, unfortunately, we have been bred and wired to only survive and use a gun as our source of as a problem solver. Being born to a teenage mom who's with me today, being born to a teenage mommy dealing with her own adverse childhood experiences exposed me to a lot of pain, but also led me to my purpose that I stand in today. I was just 10 years old when my mom was shot twice in broad daylight as a result of interpersonal gun violence and neighborhood beef. At this time, I was too a product of my environment, failing to realize the infectious disease of gun violence was already prevalent in my home and in my community. It was not until I was 17 years old, after losing my stepfather, Christopher Morris, losing more friends and family than I can count. God bless Riri, Tilly, Ali, Rat, Shy, and everybody that I can't think the name right now. And then in losing my Uncle Doug, that I realized this cultural norm of gun violence was an obsession of ours, a way of impulse to respond to the everyday conflict. In this moment, gun violence became my problem. Youth violence is an urgent U.S. public health priority, and firearm violence in particular has reached epidemic proportions. Black youth accounted for 35% of all firearm-related deaths among young people in 2019, despite making up only 2%. These disparities are a reflection of the historical structures and ongoing racism that my Black youth and families face. Gun violence is, of course, the source of everyone's pain. I stand in with each and every one of you. I wanted to hug each and every one of you after you spoke. It's the source of our pain and also our tragedy. But gun violence in my community is a symptom of 400 years of neglect. Interpersonal gun violence, not everyday gun violence, not city gun violence, not community gun violence, but interpersonal gun violence is particularly concentrated in inner cities and homes that have experienced the legacy of severe racial segregation, redlining, and other economic disinvestment. These structural factors are at the root of all forms of violence, and especially interpersonal gun violence. This disinvestment in urban communities of color strongly are associated with the lack of prevention. Can I hear you say prevention? Thank you. Our words become our actions. It's associated with the lack of prevention-focused youth programs and services in these settings and in our settings. Many researchers have highlighted an urgent need for evidence-based prevention programs to reduce gun violence and especially firearm-related morbidity and mortality among Black youth. Yet, we have very few primary prevention interventions that work on multiple levels to comprehensively address these risk factors. Even fewer address the root causes of violence in community and structural levels. The beauty is that this very voice that you hear and this very Black girl magic that you see is the proof. I am the proof that this deadly cycle can end. I am the product of prevention. I founded the true reasons I grab a gun evolved from risk project, the Trigger Project, a youth-led organization intersecting public health, social justice, and positive youth development. I've witnessed hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of my youth that I've directly and indirectly impacted in gun violence within. Trigger lives to end gun violence through addressing the root causes of gun violence while simultaneously raising awareness about the risk and protective factors that the CDC has linked to youth violence. Look it up. We work with inadequate funding to counter the toxic stress, chronic trauma that our city and youth experience in their daily lives, that I still experience in my daily life. We work to make young people feel safe, and we create evidence-based programs that help connect new brain neurons and become more productive citizens. The gun in our nation's capital, unfortunately, provides a sense of safety and identity to the young people that I serve. But it also leads to Black girls, boys, men, and women going to be handcuffed or thrown in a casket. Our goal is to replace the school to prison pipeline with a pipeline to promise for more Black presidents and Madam Presidents, more researchers, more Black news analysts, law enforcement, social workers, trauma doctors, and you name it. More Black founders. Our youth are the solution and must be empowered to create and design solutions of holistic healing and civic contribution for their peers. Right, March for Our Lives? We have to rely on communities most harmed by gun violence to design preventative solutions. We need to embody the voice of the voiceless. We need our Congress to come together as one. The time is now to be prevention. We can end and prevent gun violence. Thank you.